What's up, everybody? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button to the Hoops Tonight YouTube channel, and then follow me on social media on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter so you guys don't miss any of our content over the course of this season. All right, let's talk some basketball. All right, moving on to Knicks-Bucks. So it's funny because the Bucks have a much better defensive effort and they win, and all the talk surrounding after the game, it's like, oh, well, they sat Brook Lopez in a deeper drop coverage. And I, for those of you guys who haven't seen it yet, I did a huge deep dive on the Bucks and their defensive struggles coming into tonight's game. You can find that on our YouTube feed just a little bit further back. Actually, it should be the video right before this one. But like I kind of feel bad for Adrian Griffin in a lot of ways because he's the latest victim in a long line of people that I've seen fall into this trap where it's like, as soon as your team starts playing poorly, you blame the coach. It's like it's the most, recurring theme from fans that I see, covering the NBA. Like, I saw it with Frank Vogel when he was with the Lakers. I saw it with, I've seen Warriors fans do it with Steve Kerr. I still to this day see Warriors fans complain about Steve Kerr on Twitter nonstop as if he's not one of the 2 or 3 best coaches in the NBA. Like, Lakers fans are still doing it to Darvin Ham, even though he's doing an amazing job with the Lakers. Like, it's a consistent theme that I see. It's an easy target. It's easy to blame the coach when the players you see are not playing as well as they could be. And too often we don't, apply the requisite amount of blame to the players for not doing their jobs. And so Adrian Griffin has gotten a lot of criticism for running a too aggressive pick and roll scheme, basically keeping his rim protectors too far away from the basket, which is hurting their ability to protect on the back line. And so I was excited to kind of dive into the film today and really look into it and try to see what specifically was happening on that front. And like, don't get me wrong, like there were some issues there. There were several possessions that I saw where Brook Lopez or Bobby Portis in particular were too far away from the basket in pick and roll coverages and not in a position to protect the rim. Giannis as well, not often enough in his low man position where he can be a really impactful help defender. But at the same time, that was like maybe a fourth of the issues that I saw. The vast majority of the issues that I saw were guys were just doing a bad job. They were just playing bad basketball. And like, there's video of this. I did a whole thread on my Twitter feed. So @_JasonLT, you're going to find a full Twitter feed of all the clips that I put together of the Bucks defense. But like, the point of attack guys were dying on screens too often and not competing on the glass in particular. The screen defenders, Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis, were they positioned poorly? Yeah, but they also were doing a bad job. Like, they also were just straight up not doing a very good job. The help and recover backside guys, not doing a good job in terms of making the right decisions for when to commit to helping on a drive versus staying home with the shooter, either helping too far off of a good shooter or staying home off the ball when they should be helping. They were leaving their small guards on islands in post-up situations instead of helping. Like, nobody was competing on the defensive glass. Like, it was a travesty down the line in terms of execution. And like, a lot of people don't realize, like, scheme is only half the battle. The scheme can get you so far, but if the execution isn't there to match it, it doesn't matter. And a lot of times it's kind of unfair to properly evaluate a defensive scheme until you actually see it executed properly, right? I talk about this all the time with drop coverage. A lot of times people will say like, oh, drop coverage is flawed. And don't get me wrong, drop coverage has its flaws. But in theory, when it's executed properly, it works. If the guy navigates the screen and applies back pressure, the pull-up jump shot's not there. If the pull-up jump shot's not there, the guard has to work downhill. If the guard has to work downhill, the rim protector's waiting for him. And he can sit there and stay behind the roller and the ball handler. Again, like, execution is the majority of the battle. And like, did Adrian Griffin make some adjustments today? Yeah, he did. Lopez was sitting further back around the rim. And what did he have, 5 blocks in this game? Like, definitely a smarter defensive strategy for this particular team, right? Especially against a New York Knicks team that doesn't have a lot of pull-up shooting outside of Jalen Brunson, right? So like, I get it. But at the end of the day, also, everyone just did a better job. Dame's been getting cooked all over the floor all season long. But he finally sat in a damn defensive stance at the end of the game and slid his feet and got a stop on Jalen Brunson. He got a huge steal on Jalen Brunson on a dribble handoff too. Like, Dame is capable of being a much better defensive player than he's shown to this point in the season, right? Just in general, it was a much better effort from the Bucks. And so again, like, the Adrian Griffin is just a coach trying to figure out what works for his team. Will there potentially be a time 30, 40 games in or maybe you have to take a look at a coach and see if he is potentially a bad fit? Yeah, but we're certainly not there after 5 games. We're not there after 5 games, and especially when it's clear on tape that the players just aren't doing their job. But they did a much better job in this Knicks game. There's still a lot of room for improvement, by the way, right? Like, you won by 5 and you had to make 20 out of 39 threes to win the game, right? Like, you still gave up 1 million offensive rebounds. This is a Bucks team that was second in defensive rebound percentage last year. Coming into the night, they were 14th, and they gave up 1 million offensive rebounds again, right? The crunch time offense, if it wasn't Dame getting to the foul line, there wasn't a whole lot else there, right? Dame got a bucket on a back cut, and he had a really nice 3 on a catch and shoot coming off of a screen. But for the most part, they looked a little stuck in the mud offensively. There's still some issues with the Dame-Giannis pick and roll where, like, Giannis, for whatever reason, is like picking and popping to the top of the key. They're not running it enough. When they run it, they're not spacing it properly, and Giannis isn't rolling hard. So, like, there's a lot of area for opportunity here. Dame is still, not quite in full rhythm where it feels like because Dame is like really in full rhythm when he's hitting, when he's consistently getting 7 and 8 threes in a game, 2 or 3 times a week, right? Like, that's the Dame when Dame Lillard is really there. He kind of has been closing these games with savvy in a lot of ways, right? Like, he identified that the Knicks were in the penalty early in the fourth quarter and just started putting a lot of downhill pressure to try to draw fouls and kept getting to the free throw line. Like, he's a heady basketball player, really good half-court basketball player who's going to find ways to impact winning. But, like, he's actually capable of going an entire level above that. This team can rebound better. This team can score in the half court a lot better. They still can defend better. I don't think they'll ever be an elite defensive team with this personnel. There's a debate to be had about whether or not they're going to have to upgrade the 2-guard position. I don't think they're getting enough out of either of Connaughton or Malik Beasley right now. So, like, there's a chance down the line that you have to do something at the deadline to try to shore up your perimeter defense next to Dame, right? But in the meantime, you're 3-2, and there's a lot of things that you can get better with just this particular group. And tonight I thought was a good step in that direction. Remember, nothing happens overnight with this stuff. You don't just go from playing shitty basketball to playing good basketball. It's baby steps along the way. And I thought tonight was a good positive step for the Bucks in the right direction. And I think it's ridiculous that we are sitting at 3-2, and the Bucks are sitting at 3-2, and the story all day was whether or not the Bucks should fire Adrian Griffin, which is just completely ridiculous. NBA fans, the wait is over. Basketball is back, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is celebrating with an unbeatable offer. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets for throwing down $5 on the NBA. Win or lose, it doesn't matter. You'll start the season with an instant dub. And with DraftKings parlays, everyone's got a shot at an even bigger basketball win. String together multiple bets from the same game or build your parlay across multiple games for a shot at making your payday even sweeter. Basketball's more fun when you're in on the action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code HOOPS. That's HOOPS. New customers can get $200 in bonus bets instantly for betting just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code HOOPS. The crown is yours.
Don't miss the action this weekend when the NFL heads to Germany for the Frankfurt games. These games will air on the NFL Network. I'll be watching and stream on NFL Plus. Again, streaming on NFL Plus. For a limited time, Verizon customers can get Netflix Plus, NFL Plus for just $25 a month with Plus Play. That's $120 in annual savings. Plus Play is a platform where Verizon customers can shop, manage, and save on the subscriptions you already have, like NFL Plus. With NFL Plus Premium, you get access to games on mobile, NFL Red Zone, NFL Network, which means you can catch the Frankfurt games and more. Just go to verizon.com/NFL. Save before the games. $120 you can save annually. Hurry, this offer ends soon.
On the Knicks front, I have not watched this team particularly closely this year. I have a plan to in the next week. As you guys know, we're tweaking our format. We're doing less instant reactions and more deep dives. And obviously there are clear things popping off the screen, right? Like Jalen Brunson looks a lot better now than he did in preseason. In the first couple games of the season, looks like he's finally in rhythm and starting to get the right amount of lift on his shot. Julius Randle is off to just a horrid start to the season. And again, like everything with the Knicks is always about like Julius and Jalen and them playing like superstars. When they play like superstars, they're really hard to beat because they're so good defensively and rebounding. Or I shouldn't say they're capable of being really good defensively, and they're a very physical defense, and they rebound extremely well. So as long as they can do that stuff, they're capable of being a really dangerous team. They overpack the paint, give up too many wide open threes. That was a huge problem in this Bucks game tonight. And then Julius Randle is really, really inconsistent. Obviously, not having RJ Barrett hurt the offense in this game as well. I don't want to talk too much more about the Knicks because I'd rather do a deep dive on them. So we'll probably end up hitting them next week. So Knicks fans, keep an eye on the feed at some point next week, and we'll do a deep dive on everything that they are struggling with and succeeding with on both ends of the floor at this point.